Good afternoon. This is Akashvani and I'm Anuja Kumar with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi firmly conveys to US President Donald Trump that claim of mediation in cessation of recent military action with Pakistan are not true. Tells him New Delhi will never accept third-party mediation to resolve issues with Islamabad. Prime Minister Modi to reach Zagreb this afternoon in a historic first-ever visit to Croatia. Significant agreements expected to be signed in the fields of science and technology, agriculture, education and culture. Indian Navy commissions country's first anti-submarine warfare shallow water craft, INS Arnala, in Vishakhapatnam. Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei issues war cry after Tehran fires hypersonic missiles at Israel as conflict between two countries intensifies. And Met Department issues orange alert for rain in Rajasthan, forecasts heavy rainfall in northwest parts of the country. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi firmly told the US President Donald Trump that India never accepted third-party mediation to resolve issues with Pakistan and will never accept it. Mr. Modi held a telephonic conversation with President Trump and discussed the recent Operation Sindoor. The Prime Minister's remarks came following US President's repeated claims of taking credit for the ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri has said that during the 35-minute conversation, the Prime Minister clearly conveyed to Mr. Trump that talks were never held at any level on India-America trade deal or on mediation by the US for cessation of the recent military action between India and Pakistan.
प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप को स्पष्ट रूप से कहा कि इस पूरे घटनाक्रम के दौरान कभी भी किसी भी स्तर पर भारत अमेरिका ट्रेड डील या अमेरिका द्वारा भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच मध्यस्थता जैसे विषयों पर बात नहीं हुई थी। सैन्य कार्रवाई रोकने की बात सीधे भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच दोनों सेनाओं की एग्जिस्टिंग चैनल्स के माध्यम से हुई थी और पाकिस्तान के ही आग्रह पर हुई थी।
Mr. Misri informed that Prime Minister Modi also emphasized that New Delhi will now treat acts of terrorism not as proxy actions but as acts of war. Mr. Modi and President Trump were scheduled to meet on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Canada, but Trump had to return to the US early, due to which the meeting could not take place.
राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप ने प्रधानमंत्री मोदी से पूछा कि क्या वे कनाडा से वापसी में अमेरिका रुक कर जा सकते हैं। पूर्व निर्धारित कार्यक्रमों के कारण प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने अपनी असमर्थता व्यक्त की। दोनों लीडर्स ने तब तय किया कि वे निकट भविष्य में मिलने का प्रयास करेंगे। राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने इजराइल ईरान के बीच चल रहे संघर्ष पर भी चर्चा की। रूस यूक्रेन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट पर दोनों ने सहमति जताई कि जल्द से जल्द शांति के लिए दोनों पक्षों में सीधी बातचीत आवश्यक है और इसके लिए प्रयास करते रहना चाहिए।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will arrive in Zagreb this afternoon in a historic first-ever visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Croatia. The visit comes amid growing support from Croatia for India's stand on terrorism and its bid for a permanent seat at the UN Security Council. The visit, expected to deepen strategic cooperation, will feature delegation-level talks, agreements in key sectors and cultural diplomacy. The two countries will also sign major agreements in the fields of science and technology, agriculture, education and culture. They are also expected to explore synergies in the context of the India-EU Free Trade Agreement and broader connectivity corridors linking Europe, the Middle East and India. We now go over to our correspondent Sanjeev Kumar, who is in Zagreb to cover the Prime Minister's visit. Sanjeev, what details do you have about the Prime Minister's visit? We beg your pardon. Our correspondent, we are not able to connect to our correspondent there. Moving on, Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal today embarked on a two-day visit to the United Kingdom. The visit underscores India's strategic focus on strengthening its economic and trade partnership with the UK, particularly in the backdrop of the announcement by the Prime Ministers of the two countries to conclude the India-UK Free Trade Agreement FTA In a statement, the Commerce Ministry informed that Mr. Goyal will hold a bilateral meeting with the UK Secretary of State for Business and Trade, Mr. Jonathan Reynolds. Both leaders will review the progress made in the ongoing FTA negotiations and chart out a clear, time-bound roadmap for its finalization and implementation. In Andhra Pradesh, 3 top Maoist leaders have been killed in an encounter between security personnel and Maoists in the Kodamudalu forest area of Alluri Sitaramaraju district today. Those killed have been identified as Aruna, a special zonal Maoist committee member, and Chalapati Rao, the wife of deceased Maoist leader Gajarla Ravi alias Uday, and Anju, an ACM from the AOB Special Zonal Maoist Committee. Security personnel have recovered 3 AK-47 rifles from the site. India's naval capabilities received a strategic boost with the commissioning of INS Arnala, the first anti-submarine warfare shallow water craft, marking a new chapter in the coastal defence and indigenous warship development. Commissioned today at Vishakhapatnam, the vessel strengthens the Navy's readiness to counter underwater threats in shallow waters. More on this from our correspondent.
The Indian Navy has officially commissioned INS Arnala, its first anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft, in a landmark ceremony held at the Naval Dockyard in Vishakhapatnam today. The event, which was attended by Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan, marked a major advancement in India's maritime defence strategy. This induction marks the operational entry of the first of 16 ASW-SWC class ships, enhancing the Navy's capability to counter underwater threats in coastal and shallow waters. INS Arnala, developed under the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat, incorporates more than 80% indigenous content. This is equipped for subsurface surveillance, search and rescue operations, and low-intensity maritime missions. Sai Sishla for Akashvani News, Vishakhapatnam.
Indian astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla's Axiom-4 mission to the International Space Station has been postponed to the 22nd of this month to allow NASA to evaluate the operations on the orbital lab after the recent repairs in the Russian section. This was announced by Axiom Space. Union Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh said the launch date has been indicated after assessing the key parameters. This is the 4th private mission by NASA to ISS, which will be led by NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson, while ISRO's Shubhanshu Shukla will serve as the mission's pilot. This is Akashvani giving you the news. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our X handle at AIR News Alerts. And for details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and download the News on AIR app. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has issued a warning against Israel as Tehran used hypersonic missiles against Israel in the latest round of overnight strikes. In a social media post, Khamenei said the battle has begun. He added that Iran must give a strong response to Israel, saying they will show no mercy towards it. The Iranian escalation came as the United States continues to weigh its options on the ongoing conflict between Israel and the Islamic Republic. More from our West Asia correspondent.
Iran has launched a fresh wave of ballistic and hypersonic Fatah 1 missiles at Israel overnight. Explosions were heard over Tel Aviv and air raid sirens rang out across northern parts of the country. In response, Israel carried out intense airstrikes on military targets in Tehran and the nearby city of Karaj, including facilities linked to Iran's Revolutionary Guards and a university campus. Satellite imagery shows significant damage to Iranian nuclear and military infrastructure after 5 consecutive days of Israeli bombardment. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates has urged the United Nations Security Council to intervene immediately to prevent a broader regional crisis. This is Vinod Kumar for Akashvani News from Dubai.
Earlier, Israel claimed to have killed Iran's wartime chief of staff and a close advisor to Khamenei, Ali Shadmani, in an airstrike on a command center in Tehran. Shadmani had assumed the office following killing of his predecessor during Israel's initial offensive on Friday. Back home, the government will introduce a FASTag-based annual pass priced at 3,000 rupees from the 15th of August this year, which will enable seamless and cost-effective travel across national highways throughout the country. This annual pass will be valid for 1 year from the date of activation for or up to 200 trips. This pass is designed exclusively for non-commercial private vehicles such as cars, jeeps and vans. In a social media post, Minister of Road, Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari made this announcement and said that this move will be a transformative step towards hassle-free highway travel. Our correspondent in Zagreb is now available, so we go live to him. Sanjeev, what details do you have about the Prime Minister's visit to Croatia?
Anuja, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will arrive in Zagreb this afternoon, and he will be welcomed at Franjo Tuđman Airport in Zagreb. As he embarked on a day-long official visit to Croatia, aimed at energizing India's relationship with this Central and European nation. Anuja, the day will begin with the ceremonial reception, followed by a meeting with Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković at the historic Banski Dori, the President House. Anuja, both leaders will participate in a welcome ceremony at St. Mark's Square and sign a book of impression. Delegation-level talks are expected to cover strategic cooperation, multilateral issues and regional stability. A series of agreements will be signed during the visit after the delegation-level talks. Anuja, later the two Prime Minister will lay wreath at monuments to homeland and visit the city center.
Okay.
Anuja, the Croatian visit of the Prime Minister is important as India is eyeing for the India and EU free trade agreement by this year.
Right. Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you for that update from Croatia. The 11th International Day of Yoga will be celebrated across the world on 21st of June. Akashvani News brings you a special feature on yoga's evolution from ancient Indian tradition to a global movement.
The history of yoga is deeply rooted in India's ancient civilization. It began as a spiritual practice in the early Indus-Saraswati Valley culture and gradually evolved into a disciplined path towards self-realization. For many years, scholars believed that yoga originated around 500 BC during the rise of Buddhism. However, archaeological findings from the Indus-Saraswati Valley civilization suggest that yoga is much older. Over time, this practice blossomed into a rich discipline. It flowed into the Vedas, the Upanishads, and later the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. From the Mahabharata's deep references to yoga to the 19th and 20th century revival by great masters like Swami Vivekananda and BKS Iyengar, yoga transformed from an ancient tradition into a universal discipline. In 2014, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the United Nations General Assembly, proposing June 21st as the International Yoga Day. The proposal was adopted with overwhelming support. Since then, 21st of June has been celebrated as International Day of Yoga across the world. As we mark the 11th International Day of Yoga this week, the 2025 theme, Yoga for One Earth, One Health, conveys a message of unity and well-being. No matter one's religion, race or nationality, yoga offers a path to a healthier, more balanced and meaningful life. Vishnu PS, Akashvani News, Delhi.
The India Meteorological Department or IMD has forecast moderate to heavy rain accompanied by lightning and thunderstorms in the national capital today. Talking to Akashvani News IMD senior scientist, R.K. Jinamani has said that northwest parts of the country is going to witness heavy rainfall. He added that an orange alert has been issued for Rajasthan for heavy rainfall.
About the national capital region Delhi, moderate to heavy rainfall continuing from yesterday, and mainly this is the thunderstorm pre-monsoon activity. So warning for northwest India, mainly for the Rajasthan, because there is a low pressure very active over central Rajasthan. We have given heavy to very heavy rainfall activity, warning orange color for next 2 days for Rajasthan and Uttarakhand and Himachal. We have given red color warning for Odisha, DWP, Gangetic West Bengal, and also Jharkhand for heavy to very heavy with the isolated extremely heavy rainfall for today and tomorrow also.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi firmly conveys to US President Donald Trump that there was no third-party mediation in cessation of recent military action with Pakistan. Tells him New Delhi will never accept third-party mediation to resolve issues with Islamabad. Prime Minister Modi to reach Zagreb this afternoon in a historic first-ever visit to Croatia. Significant agreements expected to be signed in the fields of science and technology, agriculture, education and culture. Indian Navy commissions country's first anti-submarine warfare shallow watercraft, INS Arnala, in Vishakhapatnam. And with that, we end the midday news.